The BHP podcast is presented by bowhunterplanet.com. Join the hunt.
The BHP podcast is proudly presented by Element Outdoors, Cold Steel Knives, HHA Sports, Grind Life Coffee, Skull Hooker, Scott Archery, and Burris Optics.
Hey everyone, this is Tim for Bowhunter Planet. Make sure you check out the new podcast, Respect the Game, wherever you find your podcasts.
The coronavirus has ripped through our society in such a bad way, so I wanted to take a moment to thank the first responders, our nurses, doctors, firemen, policemen, and military for everything they do and giving us a chance to fight this thing with the best of our abilities. Thank you from the BHP family to yours. Hey guys, welcome to the bowhunterplanet.com podcast. Myself tonight, Dave Thomas, around Tim Mazarana and Jamie Noteboom, and with our special guest, Todd Tobin from Blackstone Grills. Todd, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great. It's excellent to have you on. I think, one of the reasons we reached out to Blackstone to get you guys on was, it's kind of a funny story, but my brother-in-law, during this COVID, right at the beginning of this COVID thing, my brother-in-law, we were outside walking at our, obviously 12 feet apart, and he's like, have you ever heard of this Blackstone grill? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, man, this Blackstone, it's like awesome, da 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 da. And I'm like, I've never heard of that. So I looked online and saw your videos on it, and I'm like, wow, that looks pretty cool. Like, I should try it. So he had not bought one just yet. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy it. It really wasn't very expensive. Got it on Amazon, which got it directly from Blackstone, and I assembled it. It was a 36-inch one, and I started cooking on it. And at first, I was like, after watching your guys' videos on how to season it, which was the most important part in my opinion, I then realized like pretty quickly how amazing my food was, and I'm like, this is like unbelievable. So I started telling like Jamie, then Jamie bought one. It's kind of like spread like wildfire, and we talked about it now about 4 weeks in a row on our podcast on the website, because we're just so blown away by how good this thing is and the stuff you can make with it. And I thought in my mind, like, I got to get these guys on the podcast. I mean, it's the perfect tool for a hunter to go out, kill their animal, put it on the Blackstone grill and grill it up. And with the accessories and all the great stuff that come with this product, I guess I really want to have you guys on just to chat about the brand, how it started, what it's all about. And then obviously I know you're a hunter yourself, and some things like that we could talk about how hunters can use this grill. So I guess without further ado, why don't you take us a little bit through Blackstone, just the brand itself,
well, yeah.
How did it start and all that?
Well, yeah, thanks for having me on, Jamie, Tim, Dave. It's exciting to talk to you guys. Blackstone, maybe 15 years, and, there was one older version of what you heard, 6-inch griddle is what was available, and it was pretty much just sold at sporting goods stores. So I've been with Blackstone in total about 7.5 years. I found them through Cabela's, and I solicited days, 7-8 years, and that's how I hooked up with them. They were a sponsor of my YouTube channel, and the rest was history. And so, yeah, originally, it was just an outdoor griddle, and mainly used by sportsmen, and the things you would probably just think about, like if you haven't delved into it much, pancakes, bacon, and stuff like that. And then I think it really took off, hard to say, 5 to 8 years ago, when people started to realize that, wow, this thing can be used as a wok. You can do stir fry, Mongolian grill types of things. You can do smash burgers, shrimp scampi, and everything in between. And things really took off. So that's the short version of Blackstone. And so, about 7.5 years ago, they sent me a griddle, and I've been on YouTube for 11 years. So I used to market myself as the Rocky Mountain Meat Hunter. I got the shirt on here today, and it was just fun. I wasn't a professional hunter, just a guy that loves cooking, the outdoors, elk hunting and whatnot. So I had all these different griddles, and smokers from lots of different vendors. And when I got the Blackstone, it really rocked my world. I pretty much quit using all these other traditional graded grills. I gave them away. I took them to Goodwill. I sold some of them. And the Blackstone literally changed the way I cook. It was quick. You know, the thing would heat up 5-6 minutes. I'd be cooking, done cooking, and then within 20 minutes done. So that's how it happened for me. Eventually dropped all my other sponsors and actually started working for Blackstone. It was a real blessing. It was a miracle from the Lord for me. And so now I get to do my living doing live streams, doing videos, traveling when we're not locked down, and doing cooking demos across the country, cooking videos, and all that stuff.
Yeah, really cool. Looking at your page now, I mean, it's just, there's so many good looking recipes on here. This looks incredible. Oh my God.
I think it's funny that you said you're getting rid of your other grills and stuff. Like Dave and I have been talking about that. I told my wife, I'm like, I don't need my grill anymore. I'm not going to use it. Yeah. I literally haven't touched it since I got this thing at the house. And I cook on it every single day.
No, it's exactly what happened to me, you know, and I have to be honest with you. I was probably just an average griller back in the day. You know, I was a guy that would always burn food and have flare-ups and everything. And that was one of the things that really blew me away about the Blackstone is just, it was so forgiving, such a forgiving cooking surface. You know, you could walk away, oh no, get back there. And of course, nothing's on fire. Things are good. And so, yeah, it's very welcoming and easy for beginners.
So which one is your go-to, Todd? I know they have several different sizes. Which one is your go-to?
Boy, that's a tough question. Any one of the 36-inch griddles for sure. So, yeah, you know, maybe like the one you have, there's, you know, the standard 36 that's available at places like Walmart and Tractor Supply. And then there's beefed up versions of it. So, yeah I like the 36-inch griddles because there's 4 burners, a lot more heat, and a lot more real estate. So, yeah, you could cook, you know, 18, 24 pancakes on there, or you could just cook for 2 or 3 people if you wanted to as well.
Love it. I love it. I'm a huge camper, so me and my family, we're usually 30 to 40 days in, you know, campgrounds and stuff like that throughout the year and during the season in Michigan anyway. And I love the idea of the tabletop versions that you guys have. I've seen them everywhere. You know, everywhere you go camping, see them absolutely all over the place, and it looks absolutely amazing to use.
Yeah, it is really changed. You know, back in the day, I was the first. Again, I can't take credit for it. All glory to God. I was the first guy, first YouTuber that ever used a Blackstone griddle. Just think about that. You know, you type in Blackstone griddle now, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people on YouTube using them. But I was the first guy that used one, and I thought I was such a weird guy. Like I would tell my wife, "Oh my goodness, I'm doing another griddle video for crying out loud. I can't think of any. It's all I want to do." And so yeah, and now, you know, so it was good. I got in when the getting was good.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I just can't believe how it's exploded. I was in Walmart today, and before I got one, I really didn't pay attention. There was a whole wall of accessories and seasonings. I'm just like, all right. So I picked up my press for my paninis, and I got some tequila lime seasoning, I think, for chicken.
Oh, that's good, yeah. Yeah, I think Walmart alone, I mean, we're sold everywhere, but I think Walmart alone carries 67 of our products in the garden center this year. So there's a lot of stuff out there.
And that I mean, that in and of itself is impressive. I mean, just the fact that they carry 67, but that you have that many products. I was looking through, you know, Blackstone website, and your accessories alone, I think when I looked at it, it was something like 8 pages long worth of stuff that you can get.
That's the problem. The shelves are almost empty, though. There was just like one here and there. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, and that's been the unique thing. The last 3 or 4 years, business has doubled or tripled every year. And literally this year, it has, you know, since the lockdown, business has continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. And you know, I did a video on a couple of weeks ago. I did a video. There's a new griddle. It's an Ace exclusive over there. And
we locked up, or is that me?
No, I think
they're just constantly selling out. People love it, and you know, once they get over, you know, a lot of people, you know, there's still the diehards that are like, I need charcoal and fire. You know, that's fine. But a lot of the people, like me, I love charcoal. I love fire. But what a pain. Once they realize how easy it is to cook on the griddle, yeah, they make the jump and never look back.
Well, it's so versatile.
No, I mean, I
Yeah.
was being lazy the other day, right? And I threw 4 frozen burger patties on there. Those are the
Yeah.
juiciest burgers I've ever had. I mean, it just sealed
Yeah.
it, and you took a bite, and it just, it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, this looks so good. I can't. Oh, God. I was just watch your videos all day, Todd. I'm just gonna watch them all day.
Be careful though. It makes you gain weight.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, Todd, tell us a little bit about some of your hunting adventures. I know you said you're a hunter, and I'm assuming you do a lot of the your hunting cooking on the Blackstone. So, tell us some about some of your adventures.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I grew up, not too far from you guys. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, up in Erie County, Lake Erie. And so I grew up as a whitetail deer hunter and a small game hunter and a fisherman out there. And then I pretty much didn't hunt for maybe, I don't know, 10 years, 12 years. I went away to a college looking, I didn't know this at the time, but I went away to a college that, apparently took away my love for hunting. It was a liberal college and, I didn't need to hunt anymore. I got to be, I'm 48 now. So I got to be my late 20s. And for whatever reason, I started to realize I really missed those things that I grew up with. So I started hunting again 20 years ago. And so the first time, I'll tell you some funny stories. Here's a few. So the first time I retook my hunter certification here 20 years ago. And at the time, there's a program in Colorado called Ranching for Wildlife. And basically there's these big ranches. They might be big cattle ranches, or there's one in particular called the Three Forks Ranch up north of Steamboat. And again, since Gander Mountain has gone under, I don't know who it's owned by, but 20 years ago, it was owned by the owner of Gander Mountain. And it, one of these places where you, rich people pay 10 grand to hunt a trophy bull, 5 grand to hunt a trophy antelope, $7,500 to hunt a trophy muley. And they have this thing, where the DOW or the state will give them tax breaks if they allow so many normal hunters, just normal tag holders, to go there, and get the same experience that, the big clients would get. So the first year I didn't, and I was learning about elk hunting. I bought, like, at the time, Primo's Truth number 1, 2, and 3 on VHS tape and trying to learn something about elk hunting. So I get up there, I drew a cow tag, and I got to go with these guides that, guide all these rich people for $50, $40 at the time on a cow hunt. So here, the funny stories about that opening day hunt. So I've come a long way. I went there and I just purchased I'm still using it, a Walmart, back in the day when Walmart sold guns, a Winchester Model 70 7mm Rem Mag rifle for $450, put it on layaway, tried to get it sighted in, went out there, and we met the guide, and he said, okay, there's cows that come out into this meadow every night at dusk. We're going to get out there and see if we can't call them in. He had me and another client there. And so, this was all new to me. I was excited. I was taking it in. Sure enough, here they came. These cows came running full speed right towards us, and they stopped dead in front of us with just a little bit of, hopefully you can still see. Can you still see me on there?
Yep.
Okay, cool. They stopped right in front of us, maybe like 30, 40 yards out. And he's like, shoot. I shoot, right? They miss. I miss. They run up to the side. He does this thing, which, it's all new to me back then. He cow calls, and they stop dead in their tracks. I shoot. The other guy shoots, and I miss. They run across this meadow, and this game continues, all right? So there I am, humiliating myself and not looking like a very ethical hunter. I ended up emptying out the magazine, probably 3 cartridges 3 times, probably 6 shots on these elk. The other guy misses the elk. Long story short, they're going up this huge, they've crossed the meadow. They've gone up this huge hill. They're getting ready to cross over this plateau. And the guide ranges them one more time. And he's like, this is your last chance. They're going to cross over the top. And I aimed a little bit high and I shot, and I was like, what an idiot I am, right? He's like, man, you got him. Did you hear it hit the ground? I said, no. He's like, sure enough. So we climb up this hill. This is no joke. This is the first time ever elk hunting. So I'm embarrassed about it, but I've come a long way. The guide says to me, you missed that elk at 30 yards. You missed it at 60 yards. You missed it at 100 yards. You missed it at 200 yards, but you killed it at 390. So that was my introduction. that was my introduction. Well, to make a long story short, it was a Simmons scope that came with the rifle, and the rings were loose, the mounts were wobbly, and so the scope was sliding around and moving. Of course, after that, I upgraded to higher quality mounts and rings. So the funny story was, at the time I only had a little a 4-cylinder Hyundai Accent car, just a tiny little stick shift 4-cylinder car.
Right.
And they said, we'll load it in the back of our F-350 super. Everyone up there has F-350 Super Duty diesel trucks, and we'll take it down. And we have this big hoist and gambrel. We'll help you hoist it up, and then you're on your own. But you could at least clean that thing out on your own. So the good thing was, the first time I ever had to do it, now I'm back country. I just, I'm back in there doing it alone. We get it back there, hook it up, and I drive my little car back there, teeny little car, and I follow the truck back, and they leave me. I'm back there for hours on end. I'd watched all the videos, and I got the thing skinned out. I got it quartered out, and I got this little teeny car. I have this little luggage carrier on the roof, and I tie these giant elk quarters on the top of my little teeny Hyundai Accent. So my Hyundai Accent is just strapped down with all this elk meat. I couldn't be happier. They came back and they laughed at me, and they're like, "Oh man, good for you, brother. Have a good night." And I'm driving home, like Highway 40, I guess, up over Berthoud Pass near Winter Park, Colorado. And that little stick shift, baby, that little car, I could barely get that thing out of second gear.
That's so funny.
Driving out, I got a whole load of elk meat on the roof. But yeah, that was my first foray into elk hunting, and then I got hooked. And then the second year, I started pretty much going out on my own, and I just do backcountry hunting on my own, or my buddy comes up with me, and we camp together, and he takes off, and pretty much do it on my own. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've been able to harvest elk with rifle, with a bow, and then this year, if we draw it next week, should be doing muzzleloader. So
awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So how local is it? Like when you're going hunting, because you live out there, like, are you traveling for hours before you get out to your spots, or do you live pretty close to where they're ranging at?
You could, there are elk as close as, actually there's elk 10 miles from here, but where we live, it's, metropolitan, suburban, I guess. And so, yeah, you can't hunt close to here. In Colorado, I think most people that come out of state are probably hunting, for the most part, 9 out of 10 times on the western slope, maybe in the San Juans or somewhere, up in the Flat Tops Wilderness or something. So my first couple years on my own, I hunted up in the Route National Forest, up north of Craig and Steamboat Springs. But the last 15 or 16 years, I've actually hunted semi-close, about 120 miles away, up near Breckenridge and Keystone. So, the hunting pressure isn't nearly as bad. It's a lot of vertical, like intense walking straight up. And so, a lot of people aren't into that. And, I love it. I found a mountain area that I hunt in, and, it's just, it's a blast, again,
Awesome.
the last 7 years or so, I've done either sex rifle, the first early rifle, which is 2 weeks after archery closes, and I love it. And this year, I don't know if I wanted a challenge or what, my buddy and I decided to switch to muzzle loader, and so we'll go up muzzle loader this year and see if we can't get one.
So tell me about your elk recipes, man. You get them back and you put them on the Blackstone. What do you do?
Sure. Yeah. We process our own meat. That's a story, So, growing up, we didn't process our own meat. In Pennsylvania, it was like, this was 30 years ago. You'd pay some dude $40 who would cut your deer up, and that was it. So when I started elk hunting out here, I called up a local processor, and this was 20 years ago, and it was like, oh yeah, $500 to process an elk. And like a lot of these places now, if you want to get sausage and custom cuts made, you can do $500 to $750 to process an elk. So I realized I better figure out how to do this on my own. So I bought a bunch of videos. I can't think of the guy's name right now. He owns a bow hunting store down in Brookville, Pennsylvania. The Love of the Hunt, Brad. That guy, Brad. I can't think of Brad's name. He does stuff with High Mountain Seasonings out of Riverton, Wyoming. And I watched a lot of his processing videos. and kind of learned to do it on my own. You know, at first, the first couple of years, I like tried to hand grind things. Eventually, I got a grinder attachment for my KitchenAid stand mixer. I
Right.
mean, it was a nightmare. But it got the job done. Did that for years, and then it was really funny. Before I quit getting sponsors, like 4 to 6 years ago, I met a lady on LinkedIn that was at the time the marketing director for Weston Products, and she pretty much said, I'll hook you up with any product you want if you want to use it. Long story short, they'd send me a grinder, a dehydrator. I'd make a video for them. They'd send me a sausage stuffer, on and on and on. And like,
There you go.
I don't even think she works there anymore. So it loaded me up and it made my processing easier. So we like to make a lot of sausage. We like to do summer sausage. We love doing summer sausage. We love making breakfast. We eat a lot of breakfast sausage, so different kinds of breakfast sausage. Ground meat, you know, we'll make patties, pre-formed patties, and I'll freeze them. And then I'll do loose ground elk meat as well. I don't actually freeze a lot of elk steaks, believe it or not. We'll do some, and I like to do chicken fried steaks and whatnot. But we use a lot. We have a big family. My wife and I have 6 kids. We use a lot of ground meat. So I grind a lot of it, and we make chorizo. We make Italian sausage, different kinds of breakfast sausage. So yeah, I do elk burgers. My first Blackstone video ever, which would be totally terrible by my now standards, was elk burgers. And we make a lot of elk burgers and tacos, fajitas with elk meat, stir fry with elk meat, and all that good stuff.
Awesome, man. So outside of elk, what is your absolute favorite thing to cook on those Blackstones?
Oh boy, I guess
top three.
Yeah, recipe. Well, any kind of stir fry for sure. It's amazing for stir fry. You can use rice like jasmine rice, basmati rice, any kind of these Oriental noodles like udon noodles, soba noodles, and you can make incredible stir fry, teriyaki stir fry, sweet chili stir fry. Stir fry is amazing, whether you're using elk meat or chicken or scallops or shrimp. Quesadillas, they're simple, but they always blow people's minds when I cook quesadillas. I mean, make different kinds of breakfast quesadillas, different kinds of barbecue chicken quesadillas, Tex-Mex quesadillas. Love to cook a lot of quesadillas with everything from elk meat to Jimmy Dean sausage to bacon. And then top 3, I don't know. I mean, I like burgers a lot. Burgers are so good on there, sauteing up the onions and, doing the smash style burgers that are so popular now. I love doing stuff like that.
Sounds awesome. So far, my favorite's been fajitas. They came out unbelievable. The fresh veggies, like I chopped the veggies up, put them on with the chicken, and then I just started like really just getting into it with the spatulas. And then, I mean, they're just so good. Like at the end, my wife's like, "That's literally the best fajitas I've ever had in my life."
Wow.
And the impressive part. The impressive part is Dave cooked them. That's
what I'm saying.
Wow.
That's why it's magic, guys.
Oh, that is. You know what I was impressed with? I was impressed to see that you guys have pizza accessories. Like I never would have thought pizza on a griddle. That's pretty freaking intense to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'll use like 10-inch flour tortillas for like a super, super thin, crispy crust. And then some people will use different kinds of flatbread as well. And they come out wonderful. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome, man. I saw the crepe one too, the crepe accessories that you guys have. And I'm a big crepe fan. That's kind of a family secret of ours, family recipe that I do on special occasions and things like that.
It's not secret. I stole it in college.
Did you really? Did you try it? Did it work?
No.
You see me make it a couple times. It's not complicated at all. But yeah, I'm a big crepe guy, and I really got to get my hands on one of these to do it. So.
Yeah, crepes are wonderful. I don't make crepes often, but every time I do, they're wonderful. Just like French toast. The French toast on the Blackstone, amazing. I only do it 2 or 3 times a year, but it's always mind-boggling when I do it.
Sounds awesome, man.
How does the a grill attachment work? Because I saw that. Does it make it actually taste like a grill or not really?
I'll be honest with you. I don't use it. It's available. It's something that's been on the market for probably close to a decade. But it's not really marketed. And to be honest with you, I'm totally honest with you guys, it's not a big seller. You know, I'm not involved in the inner workings of what gets produced. You know, my assessment would be that it could be discontinued. And traditionally, when we've come out with models, like there was a model that came out last year at Walmart called the Charcoal Grill Griddle Combo. Really good. It had a 17-inch griddle with a charcoal grill on the side. Walmart actually moved it out of their stores this year, not because they didn't like it, but it was just the lowest seller, and they moved another unit in there. So what we're finding out is it seems like when people turn to griddling, they really are like kissing traditional grated grills goodbye. They don't want a part of it anymore. So
yeah, guess that makes sense. I was just curious because I was like, well, I wonder if that would add a different taste or something, and maybe if you wanted to just have the grease fall away and not cook in it or something. It's the only thing I could think of because I would think the heat part's the same. But
yeah, but I can see that though, because I mean I've been looking at them and I'm thinking to myself, like, it looks kind of cool, right? Like you know, like somebody that's coming from the grill side, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of like, okay, I don't want to give up anything, but at the same time I'm looking at it going, well, if I do that, I am giving up. I'm giving up a whole heck of a lot of real estate to be able to work on that griddle. Because I think that's one of the big benefits of having that griddle is that, you know, you have all that real estate. You can do and separate 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of food that you're all cooking at the same time.
Yeah. And we're seeing, you know, there was another product that was out years ago called what was it called? The rotisserie kebab, and it was charcoal. It had rotisseries in there. It worked very, very well. Again, they took it off the market. It just, people want griddles. You know, this is a totally ballpark figure. I might be wrong by 30 this way or that way. But like, so those types of items literally sold maybe like 1 per every 100 griddles. People would buy one of those ones with a grill. And so, yeah, you know, the griddling is just the hottest thing. And so we continually have sellers like Walmart that are coming to us saying, you know, these things are flying off the shelves. You know, let's up the ante. So this year you probably saw like Walmart's got a new 36-inch that has air fryers underneath, which is just selling out across the country.
Like
so
my 2 favorite things.
yeah. Genius.
Yeah, I the air fryer and the griddle now. I got air fryer.
I tell you, we've been talking, you know, obviously big hunters, and you know, we do the hunt camp and all that stuff, and we've been talking about this is just the perfect thing for a hunt camp, right? You got a group of 10, 15 guys that are going out hunting, and you don't even need that many guys, right? 2, 3, 4 guys, and you got this thing ready to go. You're not limited on what you can cook. You can cook things like fajitas. You can cook breakfast on it, right? I mean, breakfast is a huge thing on there. You know, throw something on there in the morning before you go out to hunt. Like, you can't do that on a regular grill. So we've been thinking a lot about that. And I got to say, I think there's one in our near future for hunt camp, Dave.
Oh, yes, for sure.
I was looking at the air fryer one. Do it up right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And to the air fryer, I had never used one. So I knew before Blackstone came out with theirs, I knew 3 or 4 months beforehand. So my boss, you know, had me pick up an air fryer to practice at home. First of all, air fryers blew me away. I thought they were a gimmick. No, they're the real deal. And yeah, it works well. We love it. And then, yeah, for a hunting camp, it's, you know, the neatest thing, guys, is like you're not washing dirty dishes. Like you're in the kitchen on your normal range top, you got 4 frying pans. You just have your griddle. Yeah, you could have like 10 sausage patties, 10 pancakes. You could be toasting up bagels, English muffins. And then when you're done, just scrape it and wipe it and go hunting. It's so easy.
Yeah, the cleanup has been the easiest thing in my mind. I'm blown away. I bought the bigger scraper, which actually made it even easier than I originally, because originally I bought just a kit with a small one, and I was like, it wasn't super easy at first, and then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? Yeah. When I go to like Hibachi, they have this huge scraper. They go boom, and I'm like, I'm gonna look, and then sure enough, Blackstone has bigger scrapers, so I picked it up, and now it's literally 3 passes across the whole thing, and it's done. There's no double hit. It's just zoop, zoop, and I push it right in that little catch, and it's done. I mean, that's Todd. If you ever
make a prediction.
If you
Before
ever
the end of the year, Dave, I think you're going to be flipping spatulas behind your back soon. I can tell.
Oh yeah, and I was going to share this with you. Have you ever made arrachera on it?
Oh
no, I haven't.
Oh, your mind has just been blown. New video for you.
Yeah, it looks delicious.
Did you find some?
Mr. Cedars on this call with us. He's the one that got me into this arrachera steaks. And
Yeah.
how do you do it, John? You cut it thin for tacos?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything. I mean, you want to cut it against the grain, so it's not tough and chewy.
This is the best steak, though.
Cut it into smaller strips. I like to do it in about 5 or 6 inch long pieces, so I can wrap them up in a nice tortilla shell with some pico de gallo, some guacamole, and cheese, and whatever else you want. But
oh, that looks wonderful. Yeah, that looks like Nate. Nate, Nate. You talked to Nate. He does a lot of the chimichurri steaks, and that looks a little bit similar, to those, obviously without the sauce. But yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my gosh, I've been posting some of those videos in the last couple of days. I did the breakfast burritos. I just posted that. That was so easy to do.
Yeah, this is what you look like you're at Benihana's when you're flipping.
I know,
right? Popping it up, and
the hardest part was rolling them because it got a little bit warm. I needed to keep these two cooler because right here I'm like, wow, that's hotter than I thought, and I'm trying to roll it. And then that's tonight's meal. I just cook on this thing every day. It's been amazing.
So Todd, walk me through the seasoning and then the cleaning of the Blackstone.
Yeah, those are good questions, and love it or hate it, those are the number one questions. So when you buy the griddle, the plate, like the 36, let's say the plate on top is a 55-pound piece of rolled steel. So just plain untreated steel. It's not synthetically treated like a George Foreman grill or a Teflon coated frying pan. So just a plain piece of steel. And if you took it and just threw it in your backyard underneath an apple tree for 3 months, it would just be completely covered in rust. So the comparison that I use to tell people is, if you're familiar with, if you have, or maybe you remember back in the day your parents wore or your grandparents wore, or maybe you watch a lot of these bush crafters like I do on YouTube, it's a lot like cast iron cookware seasoning. There's countless videos on seasoning cast iron skillets. So even though it's not cast iron, it's rolled steel, you season it, it retains heat, you cook on it, and you clean it exactly like cast iron. So when you get it, you have to put it in a heat source, turn the griddle on high, let it get hot, rub a light coat of your favorite cooking oil into there, whether it's, olive oil, canola oil, corn oil, whatever, and let it smoke off. And so that silver untreated steel will start to discolor and turn brown and yellow and black. And then when it quits smoking, there's Chef Nate, shout out to Nate. Rub another coat of oil on there, let it smoke off, let it burn off, and repeat that process for your choice of 2, 3, 4, 5 times, whatever it takes to get most of your griddle top blackened. And then at one point, whether it's 30 minutes in or 50 minutes in, you need to start cooking something on there. Yeah. Drop down some bacon, drop down some some potatoes, whatever, and just start cooking. Your first 1 or 2 meals might stick a little bit, a little extra scraping, but then you oil it up, you wipe it off, and then after you've heated on that thing, you've cooked on it, you've seasoned on it for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, it's going to be a completely black surface, completely non-stick. So then once you get it seasoned, the normal course of action would be you come outside, uncover it, turn it on medium or high heat, let that thing start to heat up, rub a little bit of oil on there, and start cooking. When you're done, you want to scrape it off. You don't want to dig in there. You don't want to actually cause scratches in your surface and rip out that seasoning that you've worked so hard to build, but you want to skim the top. You want to scrape it with a nice sharp edge scraper. And then when you're done cooking, again, another spray, whether it's Pam, coconut oil, corn oil, whatever, rub a light coat of oil on there. And it's good to put away or good to start cooking on again. You could even relate it to firearm, taking care of firearms, before you store your firearm, a light coat of oil, same thing. And so I always kind of relate it to that. You open it up, you open up the gun safe, the gun looks a little dry, light coat of oil. So same thing, when in doubt, a little bit of oil. And then obviously the oils from your food, the grease from burgers, the grease from sausage, that stuff also acts as seasoning. And yeah, there's a good visual right there of Nate doing an initial seasoning. He turned it on high. He's using flaxseed oil. He's rubbing it in. You'll see over a 15-minute time lapse. It starts to blacken up, and he's going to go with more oil, and eventually, yeah, you'll have that beautiful seasoning. And it depends on how much you use it. If you cook on it like crazy, literally 50, 100, 200 times a year, every couple of years or so, you might need to strip it down again and re-season it. And that's real easy. You just sand it. I mean, it's not easy physically. It's going to take you an hour, hour and a half, but you just sand it down like a piece of steel. Sand it down to its bare bones and just season it again from scratch. So if you've abused it, we get people that they don't know how to do it, and they buy them and they don't season them. They don't read the instructions. And kind of like that, like I talked about before, they set it out in their backyard underneath an apple tree, and it just sits there and gets rusty. And 2 years later, they're like, why is that thing rusty? And because they always have a weird accent. So if you do that, you can just sand it down and start from scratch. But yeah, keep it covered for sure. You want to keep some kind of a hard cover or a piece of wood on top of there. Keep it out of the elements. Keep a soft cover on there. And yeah, when in doubt, apply a little more oil on there when you go to store it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the video I watched when I seasoned mine. And to be honest, it was super easy. Didn't take long. I ended up using canola oil, but then after that, I ended up getting the flaxseed oil. But the flaxseed I noticed was a little thinner oil, so I think it probably burns off faster, it looked like to me, than the canola.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and there's people, I call them oil technicians. People get into whatever. Yeah, so your favorite type of cooking oil, and of course, people weren't using flaxseed to condition griddles 100 years ago. They were using whatever they had. Got a little hair on my tongue. Sorry.
Is there a flavor difference in like the turnout of the food depending on the oil that you use, or not really? Because it's burning off anyway.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, people don't cook with flaxseed because it's nasty, smelly. They season with it, and not really because that's a lot of the people. That's where people get really bent out of shape because they don't understand griddling. I call them oil technicians. Why? They'll send me messages. I saw you cook that and you used canola oil, or I saw you cook that and you used vegetable oil. Why did you do that? Everyone knows that the smoking point of that oil is 427 degrees. But we're not deep fat frying. It's not like when you fry a turkey, you submerge it in peanut oil. It's just a light coating. The way I look at it is I want my griddle to always have just a little bit of a glisten, a shine to it. And so, it doesn't matter what kind you use. So your food isn't really going to have an oil flavor. I could cook, I can cook like Mexican food, like fajitas and tacos, and use avocado oil, right? Because you're thinking, okay, avocado oil goes great with Mexican food. But then you go to do something like, I don't know, a grilled cheese. Oh no, I don't want my grilled cheese to taste like avocado. No, it doesn't taste like avocado. And so, whether you're using corn oil or canola oil or even olive oil, your pancake isn't going to taste like olive. It's just a light, literally enough, a couple of droplets. The entire 36-inch griddle, you're putting down the equivalent of a couple teaspoons and rubbing it in. So your food doesn't quote unquote taste like that kind of oil since you're not actually frying it in inches of the oil.
Very cool.
I was screaming at myself in my head the other day because we were out camping with the family, and I literally, and I'm not joking, in a campground where there's like 5 of us in a row, everybody had one, and everybody was cooking on a Blackstone, no joke. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this one guy cook his dinner, and he gets done with this dinner. It cools off for a little while, and I watch him pull out a Clorox bleach wipe and start wiping down the black top griddle top with it. And I'm just sitting there I'm just screaming in my head, like, what are you doing? And it's not like he does it and then like he steams it off. He does it and then he just puts it away just like that. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I can see what you mean about like customers calling you like, I'm not sure what's going on with this thing because they're not following instructions, right? That's just crazy.
No, and like I just talked about, building that seasoning, I'll see people post pictures online all the time. They'll say, what do you think about my griddle? How's she look? And they post pictures of their food or whatever. And some of the tops are not even seasoned. They're completely like just silver, or they're completely covered in rust. And they just, they don't follow the instructions. And so I got to be careful, right? I don't want to cut down the customer up on phony, but But yeah, customer service has a tough job. My boss says that they routinely get people on the other end who are genuinely concerned, and they're just fired up. They just don't know how to cook a hot dog. How long do I cook it? Do I turn the wiener? So, you know, you have to have patience.
Love it. I love it.
Are any of those
Oh,
questions
man.
from Dave Thomas?
No, I didn't ask any questions. In fact, I watched the video and I watched it in detail. And then I was very clear on making sure I did what Nate said in that video, because I wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up, because I'm not good with like rust or any issues. I've actually kept it in my garage, so I don't even leave it outside. That's how much I love that thing. But all
There
the
you go.
accessories
Yeah.
I've gotten for it are ridiculous. Like I bought the cutting board. I got the,
Ooh, yeah.
I bought the, well, it didn't come with the shelf with the cutting board and the paper towel holder. I ended up buying that separate and adding it, which was an awesome idea on their part to have that addition that you could just buy for $60 and add, because I love it. I was putting the paper towel everywhere and I'm like, where can I put this? And I looked on the
Me
website,
too.
like, wow.
Yep.
So now I have it there. I was telling Nopum about it, but he's got the 28, or it's 28, right, Nopum?
28, yeah.
And his side doesn't have the capability to add an extra shelf, because I was saying you could have my extra shelf now. I got that extra shelf, but unfortunately that one doesn't have that capability. You should have bought the bigger one, Nopum. Cheaped out on yourself. Anyway,
It's
no,
working
I do
good
want
for
to.
me.
I do want to say to people listening to this and watching this video that it's really important that when you're at the store, that you look for Blackstone, very specific, because my brother had bought one, but he thought he bought a Blackstone. He actually bought a different brand. And he has a lot more issues with his. And he's like, he's all disappointed now. He's like, I should just got the Blackstone. He went to Lowe's and I don't know the name of it, but he got something that was similar, but it's not. And when he showed me like his igniters, he has to do it all manually and stuff. Like, I'm like, dude. And then his trap isn't where the Blackstone one is in the back. It's like on the side or something. I don't know. So anyway, just pay attention to what you're doing, because there's a lot of brands that have one.
Yeah, for sure. There are. Yeah, and to that, I would say, like, I don't have anything against anybody. So whether you're talking Traeger grills or Weber grills, I run into all these people at the trade shows, and I actually, it's really funny. A guy commented this morning. There's one of my live videos from Florida last year where we were next to a Weber tent, and I was cooking and doing this live video, and everyone below in the comments points out, they're like, all the Weber guys were over at your tent going, oh, like staring at my griddle and eating the food. But yeah, there's a bunch of other people now. You're seeing, there's a couple of companies, Camp Chef, they've made griddles for a long time. I think what has happened is, though, as Blackstone has come and the griddles have taken off with Blackstone, and again, I'm blessed to be a part of it, Blackstone has really just taken over ownership of the griddle market, and nobody's doing the innovation and the things that we're doing. So companies like Camp Chef now, they're turning to pellet grills, and they're trying to go after, I think, this is me just thinking, I don't know this personally, but I think they're trying to go after Traeger. And, you're starting to see more and more knockoffs. Every year the legal department has to do a cease and desist orders because such and such a company pretty much stole the exact Blackstone design and just put like ABC griddle on there.
Happens in every industry.
Black Rock.
Yeah.
Happens in the bow industry too.
Yeah, and I think they think of it as flattery. They're not getting anywhere. And the difference is they don't have this. They don't have the personal touch. They don't have Todd. They don't have Chef Nate. They don't have people that are out there. They're just a company that literally just made a griddle and sold it. And so that's what's unique about Blackstone. They've established all these great relationships. They have great management. They have great ownership. And I think that's what sets us apart. And of course, the innovation. I think this year there's probably 15, 16 different models on the market this year, and there'll be more and more in the future.
Oh, I'm sure there will be. It's been very successful. And, again, I think it's just been, the thing about this product for me, at least, has just been that we've been dealing in the archery industry for many years now. And I've seen a lot of different products. Obviously, there's nothing to do with grilling. I get that. But this product, when I bought it, I never had buyer remorse ever with the Blackstone stuff, which is weird because usually you buy something, you're like, maybe I really didn't need that. This was like, I tell people all the time, like, this was like literally the best thing I ever spent my money on. And I'm so happy I spent my money on it. Like, literally, it's been such an experience. I am not a cook by any means, but this thing has made me into a great cook. Honestly, I'm making things that I think would make anybody listening to this happy if they had a bite of the food. I mean, it's literally made it so easy to be a good chef. It's been really something. And I'm excited for you to try the Arrachera on there and let us know your thoughts on John's recipe over there.
I need to. It looked you made me very hungry by showing me that. Yeah.
So, Todd, thanks for joining us. Everybody out there, make sure you check out Todd Toven on his YouTube page. You can check that out. Make sure you sub. But on here, you guys are going to see so many great videos on recipes on the Blackstone. It's literally unbelievable. And there's so many good things. Also, obviously, go to blackstoneproducts.com, and there you can see everything we're talking about today. But again, guys, this is something that, all of us on this podcast, we are not sponsored by Blackstone. We do nothing with Blackstone. We actually asked Blackstone to have someone come on and talk about the product because we were so impressed with these products. But we definitely, this has been a great experience for us. Just, and we want to share it with all of you guys who are cooking all your venison, your elk, your back straps, all your good stuff. And also obviously you can see Todd online as well on Instagram and Blackstone on their Instagram. So check that out when you guys get time. And Todd, thanks so much, man. We appreciate you joining us. And
yes, thanks for your patience. I know it took a while to get it going, all these things going on, but yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great night. Thanks for listening to the BHP podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for listening to the Bowhunter Planet podcast, online at bowhunterplanet.com with your host, Team BHP. Check us out on Facebook at Bowhunter Planet. We'll catch you next time.